Coming up on Focal Point, another shooting this morning at a naval base, this time in Florida. And impeachment moves forward.
Today, I am asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment.
It's Christmas time. Meet a man whose job it is to grow a pretty big piece of Christmas.
The Trump campaign rolls into Michigan. Vice President Mike Pence and Sarah Sanders rally in Holland. Focal Point starts now.
Hello and welcome to Focal Point. I'm Joe Fryhofer.
And I'm Luke Saccone. We're less than a year away from the presidential election and campaigning has started. Focal Point's Katie Brecky takes us west to Holland, where the vice president rolled into town for the rally.
Downtown Holland, Michigan. The little town gets a big visit.
We're all lots of people very excited today. We're looking forward to whatever he has to say.
Vice President Mike Pence and Sarah Huckabee Sanders made a stop in the West Michigan town on their Keep America Great bus tour.
I came because I believe what Trump and what Pence stands for, and I think it's deep down what the Republican Party stands for, but they're not able to verbalize it.
It may be cold outside, but these people here behind me in Holland are excited to be seeing Vice President Mike Pence.
I got my scarf from Grand Rapids when Trump was there.
It's cold out, but that's all right.
Got my hand warmers, got my long johns, and I got a lot of good spirit.
Not everyone in this West Michigan town is a fan of the VP.
There's people going by that have been honking and waving.
More protesters gathered throughout the day, and supporters who couldn't get into the rally sat outside.
That didn't happen, but it's cool just to, look out here and then just kind of meet these people and talk to them about Trump.
And those who were inside enjoyed what the VP had to say.
He said, where Christ is, there is freedom, so we don't want to get rid of God in our country. I always love listening to Pence.
In Holland, Katie Brecky, Focal Point News.
And those inside heard Vice President Pence talk about how the president needs their support in the 2020 election. Pence made sure the audience knew that 118,000 new jobs have been created under the Trump administration. He also used the platform to support Michigan's Republican U.S. Senate candidate John James. In an interview before the rally, Pence talked about the current impeachment hearings facing the president.
There was talk of impeachment the day we were inaugurated in Washington, D.C. And nevertheless, President Donald Trump has just put his head down, worked hard to deliver on the promises he made to the American people.
The president will be making a stop in West Michigan in the next few weeks. President Trump will be in Battle Creek on December 18th for his Christmas rally.
Only 2 presidents in American history have been impeached, but that number could become 3 by Christmas. After over 2 months of investigation, impeachment proceedings against President Donald Trump are moving into a new phase. Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced yesterday that she is directing the House Judiciary Committee to draft articles of impeachment for the House of Representatives for a vote. Trump is accused of withholding aid to Ukraine in exchange for investigating the son of his political rival, Joe Biden.
Our democracy is what is at stake. The president leaves us no choice but to act because he is trying to corrupt, once again, the election for his own benefit.
The House is expected to vote to impeach the president before Christmas, and a trial will be held in the Senate in the new year. And with more national news and another naval base shooting this morning.
Yeah, we head live to the Spartan newsroom with Focal Point's Morgan Durden. Evening, Morgan.
Good evening. You're right, another tragedy at a naval base. 3 people are dead after a shooting at a naval air base in Pensacola, Florida this morning. The shooter has been identified as a Saudi national in the U.S. for flight training. Police shot and killed the shooter. Several people were injured and are being treated at nearby hospitals. On Wednesday, a Navy sailor shot and killed 3 people on the Pearl Harbor Air Base.
You just don't expect this to happen at home. This doesn't happen in Escambia County. It doesn't happen in Pensacola. It doesn't happen to our friends and neighbors who are members of the United States Navy.
Both attacks come just before the 78th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. Both shootings are under investigation. One more Democratic nominee has dropped out of the race for the 2020 presidential bid. California Senator Kamala Harris called it quits on Tuesday. It's all about the money, and Harris ran out of it. Aides say she wanted to keep fighting, but her campaign would have gone into debt. In a note to supporters, Harris called this one of the hardest decisions of her life, but she said she will work to keep all her promises.
I am still very much in this fight, and I will keep fighting every day for what this campaign has been about. Justice for the people, all the people.
NASA's Parker Solar Probe is shedding new light on the sun, and you could say that Michigan State is along for the ride. The spacecraft is named after Michigan State alum Eugene Parker and is exploring never-before-seen parts of the sun's atmosphere. Since the probe left for space just over a year ago, it has been using cutting-edge technology to measure the surrounding environment. It's allowing scientists to better understand the particles being released from the sun and how it's affecting Earth. Speaking of Spartans, late Wednesday night, Christina Cook was waving at us from space. Another Michigan State alum has been orbiting the Earth in the International Space Station since the middle of March. She shared her view with the world, and her focus was us. She snapped a picture of Michigan at night from 220 miles up. Cook is set to break the record for the longest single space flight for women at the end of this month. That's all I have for national news. I'm Morgan Durden.
Thanks, Morgan. Speaking of Michigan, you live there. You expect snow, sometimes a lot of it. It is important for Michigan State infrastructure planning and facilities to always be ready. MSU Planning and Facilities uses 63 trucks, plows, and blades to clear campus roads and walkways, and there are a lot of them. 57 miles of roadways, 115 miles of sidewalks on campus, and 28,000 parking spaces. Once facilities gets news of an impending storm, they load vehicles with brine road treatment, which is a mixture of salt and water. But the preparation starts long before the day of a snowstorm.
So we start planning for snow in July. Making sure all of our equipment is ready to go, because we never know, there could be a freak snowstorm like this year in the middle of November.
There are two new projects that facilities could be incorporating soon. An automated snowblower is being tested and a new brine road treatment is being evaluated. Both are coming from the MSU College of Engineering.
Now that Thanksgiving is over and December is officially here, that means it's Christmas season.
Yeah, but if you're anything like our Tony Black, he's been celebrating since the beginning of November. He joins us live from Mason at a uniquely Michigan farm. Tony?
Yeah, Joe and Luke, I thought I started celebrating the holidays early, but the man who owns the farm behind me celebrates all year long. Let me explain.
I go in here and get a little more wood, start a fire.
In the cold of winter,
open one of these double doors.
That's when business heats up. Dr. Mal Kelling is a farmer, a tree farmer, starting his day at Tannenbaum Farms in Mason with a fire, preparing for the workday.
I will fuel all of these. Equipment, always picking up things.
After 37 years with the Department of Forestry at Michigan State, he retired and finds himself working even harder.
It's turned into a pretty full-size operation.
Over 180 acres and almost 100,000 trees.
Load that up.
And he does all that before the doors even open.
Thinks that one's perfect, so that's the one we're getting.
For Krista and Dick Shainwald, their first time here might become a tradition.
I know where I'm going to get a tree. Tannenbaum, you know, old Tannenbaum.
Old Tannenbaum.
Drove here just for this. Christmas trees are the centerpiece around which that meaningful event occurs.
This tree could take another 10 years for a family to enjoy. But will Dr. Mel even be here to see it? He doesn't know.
20 years from now, Tannenbaum Farms will still be producing Christmas trees, and I'll be pushing daisies in some cemetery somewhere.
At 82 years old,
I'll plant trees as long as I'm physically able to do that.
He'll do it as long as he can.
Well, I guess it confirms to me I'm getting older, but it doesn't affect me negatively.
No, it doesn't affect him.
We're all want to go there someday. We're just not ready to leave yet.
Because he's not worried about what will happen when he's gone.
I've had a good 82 years of enjoyment so far, and I don't see any particular problem with my not being here.
But for now, Dr. Mal is enjoying his own North Pole.
Kind of like that, I guess.
You guys, if you haven't checked out this farm, you have to see it. Even if you don't need a tree, the sheer size of this place will completely blow you away. You and 17,000 other people that come every year. We're live in Mason. Tony Black, Focal Point News.
Thanks, Tony. You know, Joe, I love the Christmas tree smell.
Well, there's nothing better. The tradition of going out and picking out the tree when you're a little kid with the family, it's certainly awesome.
Absolutely. Coming up, we've all heard of Black Friday shopping, but how about Green Friday? It's today, and we have the story. And you've been able to turn on MSU's radio station for 30 years. The impact it has made, coming up. Go nowhere.
Welcome back to Focal Point. We're stuck here, but Luke, you got to slip out a little bit earlier for Green Friday.
Yeah, that's right. Black Friday was a week ago. Green Friday today. It's East Lansing's version of a holiday sale day. According to singer Andy Williams, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Definitely, yeah. Gotta get some Christmas shopping done.
To others, it's the busiest time of year.
I definitely will pretty quickly here, like once I head home for winter break.
And that means shopping, just in time for the holidays.
Well, I was gonna go down to Clever Clover, because they just expanded the store, opened it up, so I wanna go check it out.
Today and tomorrow, East Lansing hosts Green Friday, where downtown businesses open their doors to even more sales. But it isn't as popular as Black Friday, just yet.
Yeah, I mean, deals are always cool, but I have never heard of it, so.
If you take a stroll through downtown East Lansing, you're gonna find a lot of unique shops and stores. One of those being Flat, Black, and Circular, a music store that's participating in Green Friday for the very first time.
It's kind of local, trying to work with all the other stores in town.
Dave Bernath opened Flat, Black, and Circular 43 years ago.
Well, I'm buying them and turning them over. Yeah, I'm paying a lot more than I used to.
And it's a busy time for them too.
Especially the Saturday before Christmas is usually the busiest of that season. I mean, that Black Friday is good, but the few days before, everybody waits till the last minute to get their gifts.
But while Green Friday isn't as big as Black Friday just yet, there's hope for its future.
We'll see. It's a new thing for us, so if it works, cool. If it doesn't.
Green Friday last Friday and Saturday, along with sales, the East Lansing community is invited to join the Toys for Tots campaign that lasts through December 7th.
One MSU organization celebrates its 30th year of impacting the community.
And next weekend, MSU will be covered in a sea of green as some students say goodbye. Brandon Rothenberg is live in the Spartan newsroom with those stories and more with our campus report. Brandon?
That's right, Luke. Impact Radio, Michigan State's student radio station, is celebrating its 30th birthday. From music to sports, the workers and volunteers have taken the operation in many directions. Griffin Stroin dials up the story.
Whether you're just simply driving to work or going on a road trip. The second most important part about driving besides paying attention to the road is the tunes.
Emo and punk music, it's pretty chill. I like it.
Andy Campbell has been working under a hot microphone since his sophomore year.
From their 1989 album, Bleach.
For some, Impact Radio is not just a station, it's a family.
It's just given me a really cool community of people to hang out with.
So much so, after a dozen years away from the station, one former student decided to return to his radio roots.
I actually became a high school broadcast teacher, and then about a year and a half ago, the general manager position here opened up, and so I had to come back.
For 30 years, the voice behind this microphone has been the students. Countless hours creating radio shows, podcasts, and so much more. But also, some of these students are making a career out of it now.
And then all of a sudden we see that the Coyotes from the NHL, they're play-by-play guys in a long.
And while the station has been growing in sports and experimenting with new shows.
We have shows that, I don't know anything about, but it's cool. It's cool for a specific group, and we're always trying to add more groups.
The music is what this place is all about.
Because this is a music station. I mean, that's what it's always been, and that's what it will be.
Hear a song and you remember what it means to you. For Joe, it's the station itself that has all the meaning.
I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't think that I could have gone through college without this place.
In East Lansing, I'm Griffin Stroyan, Focal Point News.
You can tune into 88.9 FM in the Lansing area or check out impact89fm.org to support the student-run operation. Engineers know how to make things and create things, And today, in the College of Engineering, they showed off their work. It's called Design Day, where seniors present their last piece of work at MSU. Even high school students displayed their work in the halls. Mechanical engineer senior Mike Johnson and his group created a device that assists disabled kids into their sleds when playing sled hockey.
It was clear that you're going to be actually helping people very soon when you build it. It wasn't like some theoretical part to something. It was like build something that's going to be used.
Mike is just one of the many engineering students hoping that what they created today can help others in the future. MSU students have 1 week until the day that most Spartans have been waiting for about 2,000 days. Yes, I am talking about graduation. At the MSU Union, inside the Spartan Spirit Shop, students prepare for their transition into alumni. Michigan State's commencement ceremonies take place next Friday and Saturday, so future graduates are picking out caps, gowns, tassels, and more. The advanced degree ceremony happens at 3:30 p.m. on December 13th with Vice Chancellor Tawana Coupe. Undergraduate ceremonies begin at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. in the Jack Breslin Student Event Center on December 14th. Natural Science senior Lamise Ayoun talked about how she's made it this far.
Thank you. Have a great day. If you manage your time well and you put in work and have that one goal and try to achieve, you can get it.
Doug Meyer will speak and kick off the ceremony at 10 a.m. He's the co-chairman and member of the board of directors for the supermarket chain Meyer. The second honorary speaker is alumna Susan Packard, HGTV's co-founder and MSU's 2019 Homecoming Grand Marshal. Packard will speak for the 2 p.m. commencement. And that's all I have on campus. I'm Brandon Rothenberg.
Thank you, Brandon, and as always, we'll bring you your weekly dose of Michigan State sports next.
We've got highlights from the final regular season football game and more. Griffin Stroyan is standing by live at the sports desk with more. What else will you have for us, Griffin?
A famous alum came back this week, and it all had to do with a highly anticipated basketball game. I'll have that and more after the break. Welcome back. I'm Griffin Stroyan with this week's sports. This one has been marked on the calendar since the schedule came out over the summer. The men's basketball team hosted Duke for a top 15 matchup, as well as a rematch of last year's Elite Eight thriller. A special night when Draymond Green's number 23 was lifted into the rafters, but it wasn't enough motivation for MSU. They started slow and went down early. First half, Vernon Carey Jr. knocking down a three. That's a former Michigan State recruit quieting the crowd. Now later, Trey Jones takes it right past Cassius Winston and lays it off the glass for two. Blue Devils again attacking the rim, but Michigan State can't get the rebound, and Javon Delorier is right there for the slam. He puts up Duke by 14. Now in the second half, Michigan State is gaining momentum, but Carey had other ideas. The layup and the foul, Duke pulling away with this one, and especially when Delorier gets fed like that. The Blue Devils come into Breslin and win it 87-75 after a sloppy performance by the Spartans.
I'm embarrassed that a player that I love came back here and probably laid some of the groundwork with Mateen Cleaves on toughness, and I didn't think that we played with that tonight.
It sucks. You know, you want to win these games, but can't do nothing about it now but learn from it and get better. You know, it's still early in the year.
On the court, it was still a special night for MSU basketball and a monumental one for Draymond Green. His number 23 jersey joined the likes of Magic Johnson and Mateen Cleaves, and it was clear that his days in East Lansing still meant quite a lot to the three-time NBA champ.
But, you know, this is special. You know, I come here, every time I walk in this arena, I look up there, and I'll walk in here and I'll see my name up there.
Now, after stopping Rutgers 27-0, the football team came home for Senior Day this past weekend for a game with bowl eligibility at stake. A lot of fans showing love to their senior class, a lot of smiles between players and head coach Mark D'Antonio, but MSU would get off to a very, very slow start in this one. Spartans down 7-6, but Brian Lewerke changes that with this 1-yard quarterback keeper. Look at the senior drop his shoulder to get into the end zone. MSU takes a 13-7 lead into halftime. After the break, though, Maryland's Anthony McFarland cuts this one outside, sprints down the left sideline, and he is gone. 63 yards to the house. This touchdown will give Maryland a 6-point lead, but kicker Matt Coughlin was MSU's saving grace. He kicked two huge field goals to tie the game and then take the lead with this one from 33 yards out, and that's all MSU would need. The final 19-16 for the 11th time in 12 years. The Spartans are going bowling.
Tight game, and program win, much like we talked about coming into the game, what we had in 2012. Program win and opportunity to win 6 and move us forward. So we'll go bowling and we'll take it from there.
The Spartans get the job done and get to extend their season a couple more weeks. Bowl pairings will be announced on Sunday. Now, Michigan State hockey faced another ranked opponent with the number 11 Ohio State Buckeyes this past weekend. The Spartans fell 3-1 in Game 1 Saturday, but Game 2 provided another shot at an upset. Danton Cole and company with a pretty physical start to the game, but this one belonged to the Buckeyes. 9 minutes in the first, Ohio State's Gustav Westland's shot is initially saved by John Letherman, and Carson Myers fails to finish the deal. A little action between the two rivals there after the attempt, and then 4 minutes later, here's Ohio State's Quinn Preston, takes a near side shot saved by Letherman, but fellow teammate Tanner Lazinski steals the puck and drills one right into the back of the net to give the Buckeyes a 1-0 lead. Fast forward to the third period, still 1-0, MSU empties the net, and the Buckeyes' Gordy Meyer sails one in for the insurance goal. Spartans fall to the Buckeyes 2-0 in Columbus. Now, the Spartans were trying to bounce back tonight as they hosted number 19 Wisconsin for a 2-game series this weekend. The puck dropped at 7 p.m. and the Spartans came away with a 3-0 win. Big win. And that's what's happening in this week in sports. I'm Griffin Stroyan.
All right, Griffin, now, Luke, he said it. To think about Draymond Green, 3 rings on his finger already, it's no wonder that his name's up in the rafters now.
Absolutely. One of the best to ever put on the green and white. He is the 10th player to have his number hung in the rafters. He's been to 2 Final Fours, a national championship game appearance, and more.
Well, the Wharton flew in a whole new world this past weekend.
Eileen Gould has a story. Maybe she can get us a ride on the magic carpet. Eileen?
Yeah, Luke and Joe, and you won't have to go to Jafar to find it. And it's not too late to find a friend like me and fly on over to the Wharton Center because Disney's Aladdin opened tonight. And for the next 2 weeks, it will grace the stage with a show that is larger than life. For the cast of Aladdin, not only have they memorized lines, but numbers.
By the time the show ends, we will have played over 1,255 performances.
With over 38 tons of scenery, it takes 75 people to deliver and manage each performance. But it's not like they're counting.
12 pounds. My skirt is 12 pounds.
There's almost 350 costumes.
Everybody is wearing beautiful gold costumes.
And during Friend Like Me, there's over 102 costume changes that take place in less than a minute.
The dancers, the ensemble of the show doesn't stop moving in the show. It's crazy.
The genie even promises more glitz and glamour than any fictional city in the world.
It has everything from jazz to tap to, traditional Broadway musical choreography.
Ka'ena Keikoa brings Princess Jasmine to life in this live version of Disney's Aladdin.
I mean, it's honestly a dream come true. It's something that little girls, dream about, getting to play a Disney princess.
Jonathan Weir is Jafar. He brings
all my evilness that I can possibly muster, and I'm pretty evil.
And while the show includes all of the original music, these actors say some of their favorite scenes are with songs written just for the stage.
Jasmine goes out into the marketplace for the first time. She experiences all of these new things because she's been trapped in the palace for all her life.
But she's not the only one who's trapped.
The Diamond in the Rough, which is Jafar's song with Iago, that he tricks and seduces and lures Aladdin, the street rat, into the Cave of Wonders.
For Ka'ena and the actor playing Aladdin, they have a connection that started long before this show.
Yes, I am from Honolulu. The boy who plays Aladdin is also from Hawaii, so we grew up together, and we like to say it's like a hug from home because we actually played opposites each other in middle school and in high school. We did 2 shows together back home, and now being able to do theater at this level together is a dream come true.
With several months left of this national tour, it looks like Jasmine and Aladdin still have a whole new world left to explore. Aladdin will be at the Wharton Center from now through December 15th, and you can purchase tickets at whartoncenter.com. That's all for entertainment. I'm Eileen Gould.
Thanks, Eileen. I don't know about you, Joe, but I'm a huge Aladdin fan.
Oh, and no question, it looks like it's a great show. Well, it's not quite Aladdin, but I got to experience a different kind of show that drew in over 3,000 people. In a place that's usually reserved for horses.
It's one of the biggest shows.
Today, it's reserved for those who love trains. Some people like to describe them as,
an addiction.
while others say they're
Really, 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 really awesome.
We expect over 3,000 people to come to the train show. We expect everybody from ages 5 to 95 here.
People of all ages have come out and packed the pavilion behind me. Hundreds of vendors, over 500 to be exact, and countless model train setups, such as the Z-Track, a special type of mini. Well, come on, I'll show you. It's a model train on a scale so small it could fit right in your own living room.
How are you?
David Wentworth has spent more than a year on his display.
It's sort of fun and miniaturization, but you can do a nice detailed scene.
Everybody from the vendors,
we got up at 4 a.m.
down to even the furriest customers.
You ask anybody in here, they'll remember her before they remember me.
has their own special reason for coming.
When you're at home and you're packing, you think, oh dear, this is a lot of work. And then you see the kids and the expressions, and it's worth it.
For Stacy Lamb, her reason is family.
I'm a very family-oriented person, so it just like it almost brings me to tears just to be able to do this.
As a child, Stacy's grandma helped her to chase her dream. But a few years ago, everything suddenly changed.
Before she got sick, she saw it at least once, so that was very nice and comforting. I'm gonna lose it here in a minute, but
each piece brings back a moment, a memory.
and every single time I put a brick together, it's like Grandma's with me.
And every time a little kid's face lights up when it makes its way around the track, chances are her grandma is probably doing the same thing.
It's just nice to know that, you know, in a way, she's still here.
And Luke, I got to tell you, of course, it was awesome to just be talking with Stacy, but I've never been around so many train fans in my life. It was insane.
I can imagine. And in the holiday spirit, I'd have to say the Polar Express would have to be my favorite train.
Such a good movie. It's a classic. Well, that's all we have for today's edition of Focal Point. Can you believe that this is our last show of the semester?
I actually can't. I'm looking forward to the holiday season, but we'll be back with more Focal Point after the winter break. Until then, I'm Luke Saccone.
And I'm Joe Freihofer. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Have a happy holidays.